Hello everyone, my name is Natasha and in today's video we'll be looking at the basics of Cisco Packet Tracer. So first of all, the question that would be in your minds is, what is Cisco Packet Tracer and what is its use, right? So consider a scenario that I want to test a network configuration. What I'll do is I'll purchase some equipments, I'll set up a lab and then test different network configurations, right? But actually in real life scenarios, it's not always possible to buy such costly equipment and set up such costly labs, right? It's not cost effective. So we need some network simulation tools wherein we can virtually simulate these networks and test them, right? So Cisco Packet Tracer is a network simulation tool of such kind, right? We can create any sort of a network. We can use all kinds of network devices and test our network configurations, right? So let's look at the interface. Let's start by looking at the interface, right? So as you can see, there are some menu options present over here. For example, it says if you have to create a new file, or you can just hover over them and they'll you'll get the options what they actually mean. Or you can open any file, you can save the file, you can print it, and etc. Like zoom in, zoom out, etc. So let's look at this. This is when you have to select a particular column. This is when you have to search something or inspect something. This is for deleting something. And this is for placing a note, some kind of text section that you have to write. I'm telling you the important ones which you'll actually use, right? Others you can explore it by yourself. So this is a simple PDU, right? For testing purposes, when you want to send a message from one device to another, you can use this PDU, right? So let's come at the bottom section. So you can see we have different kinds of devices. So here we have the network devices. Here we have the end devices. Now network devices include route. Let's click on it and let's see. See, we have routers, then we have switches, then we have hubs, then we have wireless devices, right? And the end devices, what do we have? We have PC, laptops, servers, and printers, IP phones, voice over IP phones, right? Etc. Okay. So, okay, let's start by creating a simple peer-to-peer network, right? This would be the simplest that we can do on this Cisco packet tracer, right? So okay, now teach you how to do this. So what you have to do is, first try to understand what kind of devices do we need in a peer-to-peer network, right? We need a, we need two PCs, right? We need two PCs. So we'll go over here and click on it and just click here. So here you can see we have placed the two PCs. Now the second task is to connect them, right? So for connections, we need to go onto this connections tab and you can see we have different types of cables for connecting. Now one thing that I would like to tell you is that there are two kinds of cables that we'll be using. One is the copper straight through cable and the second is the copper crossover cable, right? So when you have to connect devices of similar kinds like these, one is a PC and second is also a PC, we use copper crossover. But when we have to connect devices of different kinds, for example, one may be a switch, one may be a computer, then we use copper straight through, right? So in this case, you'll select this wire, just click on it, just go over here, just click on it, right? So these are the different ports that are available on our desktop, right? So you have seen your CPU of the desktop or you have seen your desktops, right? You know which kind of ports are available on it. Similar kinds of ports are available on this as well. So let's select Fast Ethernet 0 and let's go on to this. Let's also select Fast Ethernet 0, right? So one thing that I would like to tell you over here is that if you see these green triangles, it means that your connection has been successful, right? But if you see some red triangles over here, then you need to look at it because it means that connections are not proper. There's some mistake in your connections or these are incorrect, right? So we have done with the configuration. We are done with the configuration. Now the second part which you need to think of is if two desktops need to communicate with each other, we need IP addresses, right? These need to be assigned some IP addresses. So how to assign IP addresses in Cisco Packet Tracer is, you can just look at it. If I hover on it, you can see, just if I hover on it, you can see there's no information is given about the IP address because we haven't set it. It's not set, right? So what we'll do is we'll just double click on it. So these are the various configurations, right? So we have different tabs. We have physical tab, config tab, desktop tab, programming and attributes. So in the physical tab, you can see the different ports that are available, right? So we know there are four ports were available, right? So in the physical tab, you can see the different ports, the physical configuration of the device, right? So this is a CPU. Basically, a desktop has a CPU, right? These are the different ports. So for setting the IP address, I'll teach you everything, but one by one, right? I'll go on to the desktop. So for setting the IP address, we'll double click on it. For setting the IP address, we'll double click on it. And after double clicking, you can see the different tabs are available to you, right? So there are different functionalities of each and every tab, but let's start by looking at the desktop tab, right? So we have to set the IP configuration. So we'll click on this IP configuration and give it any IP address that you want, right? I'll give it 1.1.1.1. You can press enter and then process. So now this PC has an IP address of 1.1.1.1. Here you can see it, right? Now I'll similarly give the IP address to this PC as well. So I'll go over here. I'll type 1.1.1.2, right? And I'll cross it. One thing that I would like to add up over here is if you have multiple PCs or multiple devices, what you can do is you can just take a note from here. Where is the note? Yeah, this is a note, and you can just type in the IP address that you have given, right? So as to avoid confusion, right? Otherwise, you can get the IP address from command prompt also. This is the option for command prompt. And you all know that on Windows, when we type the command ipconfig, we get the IP address of the network. So I'll try here ipconfig, and you can see we got the IP address 1.1.1.1, right? So we have set up the peer-to-peer network, right? Now, how do we test it, whether it's working or whether it's correct or not, right? So we can make use of the ping command. So ping command firstly is basically used to check the reachability from one device to another, right? So what we'll do is we'll click on it, we'll go onto the command prompt, we'll type ping. Now as I'm sending a ping from 1.1.1.1 to 1.1.1.2. So I have to type the destination IP address 1.1.1.2. Click enter. And if your network is good, you will get the acknowledgements. You'll get 4 acknowledgements because 4 packets were sent, right? So you can see I got the 4 acknowledgements. Sent packets were 4, received were also 4, and lost was 0. And then minimum, maximum, average time are given, right? So this is how we created a simple peer-to-peer network, right? Now we'll try to use some kind of network device, right? So this is the part one. In this, I'll show you how to use hubs, right? We'll understand how to use them, what are the, you can say, pros and cons of using hub, and the differences of hubs and switches, right? And in the next series, I'll teach you how to use switches and routers. So I'll just delete it. Okay. So let's go on to the network devices and let's select hubs. So I'll select this PP hub. I'll just place it over here, right? Then I'll go on to the end devices and select one desktop over here. I'll select 4 desktops, right? These are the 4 desktops that I selected. So if I click on this hub, you can see there are 6 ports available in total, which means that I can connect six devices to it, right? And this is the switch for setting it on and off, right? So what I'll do is, firstly I'll connect them. So just pause this video and think about the cables that will be used for making this network, right? Then you can resume the video and see my connections. So as hub and PC are different devices, so we'll use copper straight through cable, right? We just click on it. We'll use fast Ethernet, and herein we'll use 0 port. And again we'll use it. This one, fast Ethernet and port 1. Fast Ethernet 1. Again, here we get fast Ethernet. Hmm. So as you can see the green triangles, right? So it means our connections are perfect. Okay, so firstly, let's understand what is the principle of a hub, right? So hub basically works as the physical layer of OSI model, right? We know there are 7 layers in OSI model. Hub actually works at the physical layer. So it is generally used for setting up the LAN. So the basic principle of a hub is that when a packet will arrive at one of the ports, okay, let's see if this is the port at which the packet arrives. Maybe this PC7 has sent a packet and it has arrived on this port. So what will happen is, because this PC7 might have been connected to this port, right? This port. So the packet will arrive at this port. But what it will do is, the PC7 may have a tenant. So now let's understand the basic working principle of hub, right? So what happens in hub is that broadcasting is the basic thing that happens in hub, right? So let me give you an example. Assume that this PC7 needs to send something to this PC10, right? So let me click on this. You may assume that PC7 is connected to this port and PC10 is connected to this port, right? So the packet that has being sent through PC7 will arrive at this port. But we know that hubs do not have any memory. They do not store anything. So what will hub do is a very naive thing. It will send the packets to all the ports, so that it's now the duty of the devices that are connected to those ports to accept that packet. If the device would have been intended to deliver the packet, that device would accept it. Other devices would obviously reject it. Right? So PC7 will send the packet to all the ports and only this port will accept it, others will not accept it, right? So I'll show you this in working. What I'll do is that I'll show you this in simulation mode, right? Let's go to the simulation mode. So how you can use simulation mode is basically you can just put in the message, select its source and destination, and then you can actually view the message going from one device to another, right? So let me just, here I already told you this is a PDU which you can pick, right? So this is a PDU, I click on it. This is my source. This is my destination. PC10 has no functional ports. Okay, I'll select this one. Okay, let me see what is the problem. Maybe we haven't given the, yeah, we haven't given the IP addresses till now, right? So we need to give the IP addresses as well. So let me give it 1.1.1.1. Then it would be 1.1.1.2. Then it would be 1.1.1.3. Then it would be, so these are the errors which you can also encounter. So it's good that you have seen this, because you can, solve your errors by yourself also. Just I'll try to drag it down. Yeah, right. Now let's go on a simulation mode. Let's select the PDU. Let's place it over here. This is the destination port, and here you can see the PDU. You can see over here, right? So I'll click on this play button to start the transferring, right? So you can see the message goes, and I'll pause it, right? So firstly, it reaches the hub. Now what will hub do is it will send the PDU to all the ports, right? All the ports means all the devices here. So you can see, except the device from which the PDU has come, it has sent the message to all the devices. But see it carefully, these are not accepting it. Cross, right? You can see the crosses over here. Only this port accepts it, because this packet was intended to go to this PC and these were not intended to go to these PCs. So we know that the acknowledgement will also come now, and good thing is that acknowledgement will also be delivered to all the ports except the one from which it has come. So you can say acknowledgement is not accepted by these PCs and is only accepted by this PC, right? So this was the working of hub, right? So now I would like to tell you the pros and cons of hub. So as you can see, hub is a relatively cheaper device. This is one of the, I think this is the only benefit of using a hub. So if you have very small network configurations, then you can always make use of a hub. But it's the broadcasting is a really big issue with hub. So in place of hubs, switches are more common to use. So in next video, we'll look at the working of switches and routers, right? So this is it for this video. Thank you so much.